U.S. intel agencies expressing concerns about Chinese tech companies dominating 5G. U.S. Embassy staff leaving Venezuela on day 5 of a nationwide blackout. And guess where I'm headed? Right back to Venezuela. All that's coming up on today's Hot Zone.
This is the Hot Zone. Engaging with the news in a whole new way, international war correspondent Chuck Holton brings insight into areas of crisis and lets you help those affected.
Hey everybody, I'm traveling again a little sooner than I expected to be. As you can see here, I'm back in Cúcuta, Colombia. I've been asked to return to the Venezuelan border town here and continue my reporting on the unfolding crisis there and help arrange for some shipments of aid from CBN's philanthropic arm, Operation Blessing. Now, OBI is a fantastic aid organization that helps millions of people every year, and it's one of the largest aid organizations in the United States. I've actually worked with or alongside OBI for more than a decade, as they tend to kind of respond to the same disasters that I get sent to cover. And one of the things I really like about them is the way they use the aid money that they're entrusted with. They have a unique ability to magnify the funds that people are sending and apply it in a strategic way. For example, I was reporting on an aftermath of a hurricane down in Mexico one time, and OBI sent like $1 million to help, but did so by renting big trucks, which they then drove around to big box stores outside the affected area and said, hey, we've got trucks here to deliver any aid you want to donate to the disaster recovery effort. So many companies like Sam's Club and Walmart in Playa del Carmen donated tons of supplies. And in that way, I was told later that OB was able to turn that $1 million into $5 million and help a lot more people who had lost their homes. So anyway, as you can see, I'm back in Cúcuta this week. And so if you want to send some funds to help people directly, I'll do the same thing we did last time and go find people in need, tell their stories, and then let you see right where your funds are being applied to solve those issues. Now, I'll be also reporting on OB's efforts here, and I'd encourage you to give generously to them as well. It's definitely a worthwhile cause. The news today is reporting that U.S. intel agencies are warning Germany against signing a contract with a Chinese company, Huawei, on another topic. They're going to implement the nationwide 5G network in Germany next year. The U.S. has been sounding the alarm about Huawei since 2016, and also another state-owned Chinese company, ZTE, because there's tangible proof that both companies build their products. We're talking everything from cell phone routers and electric scooters, household appliances, and more, with secret data collection features that send massive amounts of data to the Chinese government. Now, you might wonder why the Chinese would care about your cellular conversations, or want to know when you're watching cat videos on YouTube, or put stuff in your toaster. Well, here's why. They're perfecting artificial intelligence algorithms, which will let them sift through unbelievable amounts of data and pull out everything from trade secrets of U.S. companies to actual actionable intelligence against U.S. government assets. Now, I've been reading books about this for the past few months, and let me assure you, the things they can do with that data are absolutely terrifying. In the case of Germany, if Huawei installs their 5G networks, we're going to have to assume that every single megabyte of information we share with our German allies is going to be sent straight to Beijing. Because Germany's part of NATO, we already have intelligence sharing agreements with them, and that intel will have to be curtailed, without a doubt. Now, on another note, if you haven't read about the amazing changes that are coming when 5G networks get installed around the U.S., you should really go read a few articles about it. It's absolutely fascinating. The exponential increase in bandwidth that 5G brings is going to be as revolutionary for our lives as the internet was in 1994. That's the reason the Chinese are seeking to dominate that space, of course. Okay, on to Venezuela, which doesn't have any internet, much less 5G. They're now on day 5 of an almost total nationwide blackout. I reported yesterday that Maduro's blaming the problem on U.S. cyber attacks, though there isn't any indication that's actually what's happening. See, over 80% of Venezuela's electrical power, that's Venezuela right back there, it comes from one hydroelectric plant in the center of the country. And that plant's been falling into a state of disrepair for some time. Mike Pompeo made a slightly sarcastic speech yesterday in which he laughed off the claim that the U.S. had anything to do with the outage and called it a testament to Cuban engineering. And he's right about that. Even Venezuelan employees who work at that plant have been saying for a long time that the thing was practically being held together with duct tape and baling wire. So apparently those employees are now being told to stay home because they've been unable to restart the turbines at that plant. And they tried now 4 times. Each time, apparently more stuff either breaks or blows up. And the problem's only getting worse. So now kids are staying home from school. Looks like that power outage is going to last for a long time. And in the meantime, people are literally dying because of it. And looting is reportedly breaking out in Caracas and elsewhere. So it looks like the refugee situation in Cucuta, right here, which was at crisis levels when I was only here just 2 weeks ago, it's just going to get worse now. And that's one reason Operation Blessing is heading in. Now, I'm going to be reporting on this all week long, and I hope you'll keep following that. I want to just talk about one other thing, just kind of go off script for a minute, and just talk about the fact that if you made the mistake of picking up the New York Times, you might have seen my name, and probably not in a good way. See, there's an article that's out about the National Rifle Association and some of the trouble that they're dealing with. That's, I think a couple days ago in their issue that came out maybe Monday. It nevertheless talks a lot about NRA TV, which, as you might know, I do some reporting for. And in that article, they like to point out that they're quoting a company called Media Matters, which has done quite a bit of negative reporting about the NRA and everybody that works for them. Now, Media Matters is kind of like InfoWars for the left. And any journalist that quotes Media Matters is really impugning his own credibility by doing so, I have to say. Because just to explain, Media Matters was founded by a guy named Brock. And this is several years ago. He's collected money from a lot of left-wing organizations and George Soros and people like that. They literally hire people to basically follow conservatives around the internet and just try to make a scandal out of anything they say in order to shout them down or get them taken off the air. And so Media Matters has been doing that with me for a long time. They've got one guy, his job is just to basically follow me around and to try to make hay out of anything I say on the internet. So for example, I posted a photograph last year when I was in Brazil where I was having lunch and I met my waiter and I said, "Man, you look a lot like Barack Obama," because he did. He looked like a young Barack Obama. And he laughed, everybody else laughed, and he said, "Yeah, everybody calls me Obama. Even my family calls me Obama." And I said, "Well, I got to get a picture of this." So I took a selfie with the guy and I posted it on Twitter, mistake number 1, and said, "I met Barack Obama. He's working as a waiter in a Middle Eastern restaurant in Rio." And because, as you probably know, I'm not a big fan of Barack Obama, especially his foreign policy. I said, "Finally a job which meets his qualifications." Oh my gosh, you would have thought I had slapped the Pope or something. But because Media Matters picked up on that, and next thing you know, Chuck Holton is saying that all black people should only be waiters and that all black people look alike. And which, I said nothing of the sort. As a matter of fact, you might know that I have a biracial son. And so I'm pretty sensitive to those kinds of racial things. But at the same time, I'm not going to be so politically correct that I can't take my picture with a black man or say that one black man looks like Barack Obama. But that's not at all what Media Matters is about. Everything they do is in bad faith. And in this case, they made a reference to a report that I did about South Africa. And in South Africa, there has been a spate of farmers being murdered. Now, most of the farmers happen to be white, and most of them are being murdered by black people. And the government of South Africa, this is not even hearsay, this is fact. They have made it very clear that white farmers really are second-class citizens in their country now, and they have pandered to their base and really sort of encouraged that kind of division. And I reported on it, and of course Media Matters made hay out of it and said that I was saying that whatever I was reporting was racist. It's not racist to report what's actually happening. Now, I'm going to try to make a trip to South Africa over the next month or so to find out the actual truth about this in firsthand, not just listening to some of the white farmers that I've spoken to who are there, not just listening to some of the other reports that have taken place on the internet, but I'm going to actually go and meet these people face to face and talk to them about the situation in South Africa, because that's really what I want to do on this podcast. Now, normally I wouldn't bother to even mention anything about negative reporting that's happening from Media Matters, because those jokers really don't rate the comment. I mean, look, if you're going to be a public figure, you're going to have haters out there. That's just the way it is. And I've learned to live with that a long time ago. I don't let it bother me. But I just want you to understand, if you happen to pick up a newspaper, a little bit of the backstory of what that's all about. In the meantime, I'm going to be here in Cucuta this week. I'm going to be reporting on what's going on, and I hope you'll continue to join in by watching, by liking and favoriting wherever you do happen to watch, and by supporting the podcast. But if you want anything you send, I'm going to give away, and I'm going to let you see who that goes to, so that you can kind of reach through the news and make the news good news for the people being affected here in Venezuela. So God bless you. Thanks for watching. This has been The Hot Zone.
The Hot Zone is produced by Amy Holton and Livefire Media. Copyright 2019.